we'll lay it out there, but people can take their own take on what built with hate means. When people say, oh, this was built with love, well, this was built with hate. I mean, we're kind of in a hateful world right now. Well, I guess this is the intro to Built with Hate TV. I'm Paul Whiteman. I started Bare Knuckle Choppers in 2003.
3, 2, 1.
2003, I actually went ahead and started. Got my own shop going out of the garage, like I said. And then in early 2004, we rented our own building and really started Bare Knuckle Choppers. Quit my job, had no safety net, and life got real fast. Having to hustle and figure out how you come up with the money at the end of the month, middle of the month. No matter what you pay for something, shit is shit. And a good quality product that's going to last you longer than the rest of the bike is what I want to offer, and that's what most people want to buy. Yeah, we've got about 4,500 square feet here. Killer building. We've got it set up the way we want it set up. We did have to add a whole lot of electrical into the building. It cost us about 30 grand, I believe. We got a couple of CNC machines. We make all our frame and springer components in. Then a handful of welders, spinning lathe, pole max. If you don't know what a pole max is, I'm sure you'll get to see that in action here before too long. Of course, our big heavy-duty English wheel, 4 frame tables, bender, notcher, and then all our manual machines.
The party getting more fun and dangerous every year.
I delivered pizzas too. I had 3 jobs, and the whole time all I could do was think about opening up my own chopper shop. So, did that for a few years. Maybe I'll back up a little bit and tell you why I started it. Obviously got into motorcycles pretty young, early in my 20s. I was in them all throughout my life because of my father and uncle. But I bought my first motorcycle. My first Harley was a 1957 Sportster. It was in an old Paco rigid frame, and it was cool as hell. But my first thought was, all right, I got this basket case. I'm gonna go get the frame painted. And my dad's like, no, you're not painting the frame. You gotta mock this thing up. You gotta put tanks on it. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then when I go to the local parts store to get parts, They said, what is it? I said, 57 Sportster. And they said, what about this? What about that? Nothing matched up. So I went home and I bought a welder. I've been welding since high school, but I bought my own welder from my dad's shop and started welding. I come from a different school than a lot of people our generation. Our generation is really about more. I mean, you see it with the iPhones and smartphones and the constant connectivity. You know, like, fuck, I love being disconnected, man. I love shutting the phone off, turning the music on, just put my head down and doing what I do. You know, I think about my grandfathers. You know, one of my grandfathers retired from the military, from the Navy, and then he retired from McDonnell Douglas. The other one was in the Army or Air Force or something, I can't remember. And then he retired from McDonnell Douglas as well. And those dudes, I'm gonna tell you what, man, they were perfectionists. So respect and admire the craftsmanship and the attention to detail that those guys had, and I try to bring that into my everyday life. We try to make the best product possible. We try to overbuild but still keep the functionality and the sexiness of the part. And again, in the early, the middle of the first decade, this century, this millennium, Baker drivetrain was, of course, a big deal. And, kind of my motto the whole time, or my train of thought was, if we're going to build the best bike, we have to have the best parts. We have to eliminate every weak link. So, from the beginning, but the big one that we focused on was Baker drivetrain, because they're all about buying American. I mean, they're from Detroit, the Detroit area, I should say. I mean, there's no place in the world that's harder hit by this recession and outsourcing than the Detroit area, So as I'm watching what those guys are doing and how awesome their product is, I learned quickly that you may have to pay a little bit more for a part, but the fact of the matter is you only have to pay for it once. So that's how we got bare knuckle choppers to where it is right now. But, frames, springers, even primaries we make, sheet metal, fenders, forward controls, exhaust pipes. I guess the reason we do it is because, especially when we got started, 2003, 2004, there was a million chopper shops out there, and there was just a whole lot of crap. And I guess there's a bit of a creative side to me. But like my friend Chris always tells me, I'm very right-brained, so there's a creative side, but at the same time, I'm very mathematical, so I'm always, on the computer doing the math to make things right and drawing things out. So we just started our own parts line. And, I heard early on, from reading books and everything, that you're never going to make an honest living building just motorcycles. I'm sure a few people have done it, but parts where it's at. I mean, it's just like when you go into the grocery store, all that little stuff that's right there by the checkout line for that impulse buy. Not that I want people to buy our stuff on an impulse, but it's just easier to spend $100, $150, on a fender or this or that, than to come to me and say, hey, I got 30 grand, I want a complete motorcycle. So, I'd rather just knock out, 30 fenders in a day rather than having to, hump it and try to get 12 bikes done in a year just to pay the bills. The parts keep the doors open and the bikes keep it fun and interesting, and they keep new parts ideas rolling out. So, early on, I'm going to tell you what, 7 or 8 years ago, there was so much junk. Every single thing you bought was just a pile of crap. And that's why we started making our own stuff. Now let's buy the CNC machines, because for our frame parts, I can't stay in front of the Bridgeport all day to make enough components for one frame. I need to stay in front of a CNC machine for 3 days and have enough for a year. So that's why we bought those. I bought those in 06. We modeled a lot of it after Baker drivetrain. We modeled the Buy American thing after, them and so many others. Like, say, why would I want to go pay $100 for a transmission when I can get one for $10? And I got $90 left over to go buy more shit. So that's where the whole Buy American thing got started. And when I hooked up with Chris from Cycle Source magazine a few years ago, I had a t-shirt that said Buy American or Die. It was a takeoff from the old MOD or SOD, I should say, SOD album, Speak English or Die. you know, kind of along the same lines. You know, it's buy American, or you may not physically actually die, but your economy is going to die. Your well-being, your means of getting by are going to die. So, got with Chris and we started doing a research article. We've been doing that for a couple of years now in Cycle Source magazine, and it's crazy the response we get from them. People calling in with all kinds of stories, or emailing in with stories about their grandfathers, how it has affected their lives, how it's affected their living. So we take a lot of pride in it. And, I mean, down to the last nuts and bolts, man. Anything we do outsource, it's American, every last bit. When Terry came to us with the idea for a YouTube show or an internet TV show, I was into it right off the bat because I can't turn on the TV, or the hell, we don't even have TV at our house. You know, we've got the internet, but we stay away from TV because it's kind of numbs your brain. It's like, you know what, we've got enough drama in real life, not that you want to see drama, that we've got the drama and we'll leave it on that side of the wall. What you guys are going to get to see here on Built with Hate TV is just fabrication, what we do in the back, new ideas that go south. You know, we scrap stuff sometimes, you know, quite often, and we've got a great idea and we're like, nah, it's stupid, or it's not going to work, or whatever. And then you're just going to see a little glimpse into what we do after hours too, you know, working on friends' bikes, getting tattooed, the crazy parties that go on around here, heavy metal tattoos, guns, just the kind of stuff that, you know, makes the world go around. So, of course, our bulldogs, dirt bikes, all that kind of thing. So, really piqued my interest when Terry said it, because I'm like, yeah, you know what? And it's going to be real, because nobody does it like Terry does it. You know, we built 2 bikes for him. They've both been raced across the country. One of them been raced through a couple of different countries. What really goes on in this building, and you'll get to see what drives me and my idiot friends and my idiot employees that I love to death, that, you know, they give everything for me, man. Good old American craftsmen. Nothing, there ain't shit gonna get built around here in 10 days, because it just doesn't happen. At least nothing quality. Parts do, but there ain't no motorcycles getting built in 10 days. So, that being said, welcome to Built with Hate TV. Dips. She's camera shy. What do you think, Dips? You gonna be popular? You gonna be famous? She already is. She's known in every tavern in 3 counties. He's Paul. Shit her pants.
Well, these fenders are the heaviest on the market, 12 gauge steel. Most people don't believe us when we say we spin this stuff by hand, but they don't believe us, they just shake their heads in disbelief. We're pretty well getting the art of it all down. Just look how slick it is. I'm like, damn. Pow! This is what I love to do. This is my job. This is my life. This is what makes my living.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.